Hello everybody, welcome to the fall semester of 2021. And this is an overview on the JavaScript and jQuery course. So we're WebD 164, and I'm just going to show you how it's laid out and show you the syllabus and how we're going to work and what the grading will look like. So let's dive in. I'm on the home section now, and I've laid out each week into weekly modules, and there's the start date for those. So our weeks start on Mondays, and our homeworks are due on Sunday night. Okay, so as we go through each of these, it's a 16-week course. You'll notice we skip over November 22nd because we're off for Thanksgiving. It is completely asynchronous. There are no scheduled meet times, which we'll talk about in a second. The announcements will be on the left side. You'll see announcements here. I'm going to make one shortly for the first week. And these are our assignments. And the assignments, I have one in the week 2 folder, one in the week 3 folder. There's one in week 5, week 8, week 9, and week 10. And then we have a final project, and we have a final exam in the final week. So you'll see final project is in multiple modules. That's because we want to get a nice portfolio-worthy piece for you. But that's all in good time. This is the first week of a 4-month semester, so we've got a lot to cover. I'm just giving you a kind of tour of Canvas here. We have a discussion. There's an introductory here, and this is actually mandatory. So if you introduce yourself, I will not drop you from the course. So it's one of those things at Mesa where we have wait lists, and if you introduce yourself within the first 7 days, that means you're committing to the class, and I know you're going to be participating. It's not like you just signed up and then you're going to drop out. So that's an important one that reserves your spot in the course. And this is a discussion that we'll be using all semester long. It's a Q&A forum, and I subscribe to this. There you go. So every time you have a question there, I'll know about it. There's also, what's really cool is Pronto. And my last few times I've run this course, it's been pretty cool. People have been asking questions and things. It's been really nice. So that was over the summer quarter. And so I'll get that too, but in due time here. So there are 7 assignments and 1 final project. There are several quizzes. Now the good news about these quizzes is that when you pop in here, you can take as many times as you want on this. Multiple attempts, yes. Attempts too, I'll change that. I just noticed it right now. But you can have as many times as you want, because I want to use the quizzes as education. So they're pretty much free points. So we have some that are 10, some that are 20, some that are like that. And our final exam is worth 50. Okay, so you would just come in here and, in my case, I'll preview it, but you would just take it. So I'll make sure that you have more than 2 attempts. But there's also no time limit on those. So you can have until the end of the course, which is December 18th, which is a Saturday. You'll see all these right here, to finish your quizzes. But I would highly recommend you take them in the weeks that they're placed in the folders, because it'll be fresh in your mind. It'll be a little easier. You can save some time. So here you see week 1. We have a week 1 basics quiz. So let's look at the syllabus real quick. There is a textbook, and we'll talk about that in a second. But as far as this, it's 16 weeks. If you email me, I will respond to you usually within a couple hours. Sometimes it takes as long as 24 hours. And I will meet with anybody at any time, basically. If you want to Zoom, let's do it. They can be private, they can public, we can do a book, we can do a group. But that's the best way to get help, is to just hit me up. Don't stress about it. It doesn't have to be a fixed time limit. If you want to Zoom for 5 minutes or an hour, just let me know. And that's where we get a lot of our best work done. So what we're going to be studying is JavaScript and jQuery. Now, jQuery is going to take up the bulk of the course. I'm sorry, JavaScript is going to take the bulk of the course, and jQuery will be the last few weeks. This is one of 2 JavaScript courses in the program, in both certificate programs and the associate's degree. So WebD 171 is the second course in this, which we'll go over that during the course, but that's where we do JavaScript frameworks. You may have heard of React and Angular. Well, that's what we cover in those, and that's how we plan to develop you so that you can get work. So we are designing this course for both students and professionals. Anyway, if we go through here, the important dates are on here. We start the 23rd. Your drop dates and deadlines are all here. The last day to submit work is December 18th, and the end of the semester is December 18th as well. Now, one thing about, well, here's the text. It's the JavaScript and jQuery 4th edition. And this is the book right here. I have it on VitalSource. I have it electronically. Now, there are other editions floating around out there, okay? And I'm fine if you don't want to pay the $54 for this and you want to do the 1st edition. There's just going to be some changes in the reading assignments, okay? So every week when we go to our modules, there'll be the reading for that week, okay? And all the reading is based on what is the 4th edition, which is what I'll be using. So if you see a title like Getting Started with JavaScript and you're in the 1st edition, you'll look and make sure the chapter names match, because the chapter numbers will be a little bit different. The code given in that from the original textbooks, the 1st and 2nd are a lot older than the ones from edition 3 or 4. But I try to save you folks money. Do I think it's worth the 4th edition? Yes, it is. If you're going to be a serious JavaScript developer, stay on top of things. There's a lot in the 4th that, quite frankly, aren't missed. That said, it's an introductory course. So feel free to do the 1st edition, and what you're going to have to do is just pay real close attention to the lectures. And when you do your homework, you're just going to have to make sure that everything's ship-shape. So that's an important thing. Anyway, back to our syllabus. When we look at this, I want to mention the late policy, because I'm super forgiving with my lateness. It is 1 point off. Let's see if I can find here. Due dates and latest. Late assignments will be charged 1 point per day up to a week. At that point, they will not be accepted without my approval. Now, that said, you'll notice that's a very small amount of points to charge per late submission. I don't want to have rushed work. I want to have good work. And I want you to have the time to learn. And if you're not feeling it, just ask me for an extension. I'll give you one. If I give you an extension, I won't charge any points off. That said, students are going to want to see the answers to the homework. And that means I can't really accept it after a week, because I'm going to be posting the answers usually a week after the assignment's due, just so the students who did submit it on time can get the benefit of actually seeing the answer. And that's why it's important that you learn this. This is probably the most important thing about this course, because there's a lot of different ways to do things in here, and I want to show you usually the most efficient, best way. All right, so that's our syllabus. If you go down to the bottom, you'll see the reading assignments, but they'll be in the folders for every week. So here's week 1, all the way to week 16. So that said, if we go back to the modules, this week you'll see reading for this week. You'll see an overview video. You'll see some other videos in here. You'll see a lecture. And then you'll see these things where you see videos from me with a zip file. So all I'm doing here is teaching you guys a little bit about, this is a little bit JavaScript syntax. So I'll put the browser next to the code. I'm using Sublime as a text editor. Feel free to use any text editor that you'd like. I prefer not to pay for it, but Sublime's a good one. A lot of you, I think, are starting to evolve into Visual Studio Code, which is fine. That's a more bloated IDE, and we use that in WebD 171, the Advanced JavaScript course. Any text editor would be sufficient for this course. It's very simple to use, and you can go through it. But I'm asking you basically each week I'll give you a little overview video, and then you can go through each thing, make sure you understand everything, and then the next week we'll start fresh. Okay. I'm going to give you a fair warning. I'm updating a lot of things here in this course, so if you jump ahead, there's a chance that that content will change. So, just know that I do plan on changing some stuff. Some of these videos are still fine. They're 3 or 4 years old, and some need updating, and those will get updated. Something like the JavaScript syntax and positioning, that's a couple years old, but it's going to be the same as we move forward. Now, if you've heard of ES6, and this is for the professionals out there, we'll get to that toward the end, and ES6 will be a sort of a jumping off point for the next course. But right now we kind of want to stick to the organization of the text, what we can do with JavaScript, how we can use our knowledge from HTML. By the way, the advisories for this course are you have WebD 152, which is the CSS course. If you don't, just hit me up. You can survive in here without the HTML, but it's going to be a little bit tough. You'd have to learn some HTML on the side. Okay, so at the end, you'll see some project ideas here and some videos on how to help you with your final project. But we'll be getting through all this, and let's just start with week 1 and have a little fun. Again, if you guys need me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm a good guy. I'm very kind to a fault, so don't take advantage of me. That said, yeah, anything you need, let me know.